Hey everybody, Steve Shermer here, the Golf Gambling Podcast, with some final thoughts for the 2023 U.S. Open as far as where the betting board kind of is shaking out tonight, who's gotten some steam, who's kind of gotten a little bit of, faded a little bit. And maybe you haven't placed any bets yet for the U.S. Open. Unfortunately, you probably lost a little bit of value. A lot of things have been steamed down, but look, if you haven't, want to walk you through where the odds board kind of is right now, give some commentary about some guys I like. Let's pretend that I hadn't make a bet yet, although based on where the odds are, I think I would keep my card the same as I'll give you the reasons why. And let's go through that exercise. Let's show you where everybody is right now at 4:30 p.m. Eastern time, and we'll go from there. So let's add from Data Golf here. This is our outright tool. I love looking at this. It basically gives you just a high level view of where everybody's odds are. And you can try and find the best odds available at your books. So over on the left here, I have most of the big public books, Bet365, William Hill, FanDuel, DraftKings, BetGM. And then we're going to look at some of the sharper books, your Circas, your BetChrises, and your BetOnlines. And for a couple of these players, there's definitely been a different treatment in the betting market as far as some of the sharper books and some of the public books. I'll show you a few of those guys. But let's start with Scotty Scheffler. Look, he started the week at 7-1 plus 650, and seems like both the public is not really scared of that number. You can see him getting bet down from Bet365 from 700 to 600, getting bet down on Caesars. He was bet down this morning on FanDuel. It seems like pricing around him is settled at 6-1. And look, I'm not going to bet that, especially with his question marks with his putter. I was watching golf live from the U.S. Open today. It did not seem like he was very comfortable with that putter. Now, he can definitely ball strike his way to a great finish. I think he will do that. If you want to look at the top 10 market for him, there is a minus 110 at Bet365 on him. Otherwise, though, you're paying a lot of juice for a top 10 for him. At this point, you probably missed the boat. I like what we talked about with Pamela last night, where maybe you hope he starts with a slow start. And then you nab a position on him live. Maybe you can get that even odds or minus 105. The danger of it, though, and we'll talk about first round leader bets later. I think tomorrow morning is going to be the easiest of it. And I think he goes off tomorrow morning. So if that's the case, he could get off to a good start. And then all this number is just, his mark is just killed at that point. So I think you just take a chance and you just ignore him. Maybe it's just a DFS play. Maybe it's just a one and done. Maybe try and wait to see if you get a better price. But, Scotty, it is at this point. All right, you got Jon Rahm. Let's go back to the win column. Jon Rahm is settled and is the clear second favorite. I thought he was going to get some drift this week. He started off at 9-1, 10-1. I thought there might not have been a lot of buzz on Rahm, and I've heard a couple picks on him, but overall, though, it does not seem like they're budging off that number. He's even come down a little bit at most of the public markets to 9-1. The sharp books have been a little hit or miss. He did start to get a little bit of a fade on him at Circa and BetChris at the beginning of the week, but then towards on Tuesday, he started to get some action, a little bit of action on BetOnline today too. So it doesn't look like he's going to go, anywhere past that. If you are on DraftKings, there is a promotion where you can add 3 basis points to an outright. So you could technically get him at 12-1. I think that's a fair number. There's a lot of things about Rahm you definitely can like this week. Obviously, great control over the tee, has a lot of length. He does fit that criteria of 11 to 14 guys inside the top 20 in strokes gained off the tee have won the U.S. Open, and he's, I think, 16th in that category. The iron play has been absolutely stellar lately. If there's flaws in his game around the green, he has not been all that sharp lately, and he has struggled on Bermuda surfaces around the green at times. So that could be a little bit of a concern. His wedge game is also not all that great. But, if you want to bet 12-1 for Jon Rahm and then maybe go one more guy down the card, I wouldn't fault you. I didn't do it. The guys I bet this week are basically hanging the same. So I'm going to stick with that. But I know my co-host is on Rahm, and maybe that's part of the reason why I didn't bet him. If Rahm ends up winning, then our show looks good. So I guess we're kind of colluding on the odds a little bit to try and boost our download numbers. Okay. All right. And then Brooks Koepka. Obviously I love Brooks Koepka. I have a top 10 bet on him. Let's actually look at that market real quick. Most of it is in the low plus 125 or so, but Bet365 is plus 150. Bet Online has the best price. That's the price I actually got him on at plus 165. I really like that price. And everything I've seen about this golf course, you got to play really smart. If you miss in the wrong spots, you get punished. And the reason why Koepka is so good at majors is he just knows where to miss it, and he definitely limits a lot of damage. You saw at the PGA where he got himself in trouble on hole number 6, and he ended up just getting a bogey, and it limited the damage, and that helps him. And I think that's going to help a lot this week. Obviously, he's won Erin Hills, Shinnecock Hills, 2 polar extremes, I think, of what we're going to see this week. I think LACC is going to be basically right in the middle of that. You got a golf course with wider fairways, rolling topography, firm conditions. Although Erin Hills is definitely a lot softer than what we'll see this week. But he won both. Really good on Bermuda as well. Good at Augusta National too. So he's great on the uneven lies. So, I think a top 10 is a great bet on Koepka. I'm not concerned about how he just won and that he's been partying. Everything he said in the press conference today, he looks like he's locked in. I liked what he talked about as far as strategies of the golf course. He batted down a question about how, the live in the PGA stuff. He just said, I'm here to just work, do well at the majors, and that's why I'm so good at it. I love that confidence. I don't think he's going to win, though, just from the basis of all his major wins he's played the week before, and I always love seeing that little cruise control 65 on Sunday. He didn't get that, but I think a top 10 is definitely in order for him there. So, back to his outright prices, though. 11 to 1, 10 to 1. It's in the same boat. I guess if you just want to single bullet one of those guys or pair him with somebody in the, the 20s or 30s or so, you can do that. But if you bet him, I don't fault you. My route is just going to be a top 10 there. All right, Rory. I know it's not a popular pick. Even I have seen and heard pushback of my pick of Rory this week, not just from my co-host. I get it, guys. All right. I understand that the echo chamber this week this is not a Rory course, which I struggle with that notion. Because it seems like that statement has just been floated on the air without any backup. People are just saying, well, this isn't a Rory course without any explanation. Well, I can give you the explanation. Because this was the argument I made at the beginning of the week. Obviously, with the wedges, that is a problem. And there are definitely key holes on this golf course where a wedge is a problem. Number 3, number 6, number 10, 12, and number 15. And if a par and a par 5, it gets in trouble on. Well, on hole number 3, it's uphill to the largest green on the golf course. So, as long as he doesn't dump into one of those bunkers, he could be relatively okay, escape with a par. It seems like he's going to go for the green on number 6, so he'll bypass that wedge at that point. Now, I don't know if that's really a good strategy at all, but it seems like that's going to be alleviated there. I think 10 could be a problem. If you screw up that wedge shot, you can turn a birdie into a bogey. Same thing with number 12. That can be an issue. Obviously on the par 5s, that can be an issue too, but maybe it's a little overblown. Wedges can definitely turn around quick for him. And over the last year and a half or so, he's actually been fairly good in that category. Just very recently, he's been really bad. The second thing is you can't really spray it at this place. I understand that notion. Even though there are 70 wide yard fairways in some points, really the best place to be is 25 to 30 yards. But look, I still think length is going to be an advantage for a guy like Rory, and he has had a lot of better control with the driver the last couple of weeks. And if he has a great driving week, yes, everybody's going to get some rollout, but so will he. And he has a nice high draw. There's a lot of really crucial tee shots that command a high draw. I saw him even hitting some really nice controlled fades on the range today too. Looks like the driver is on point. Seems like he really is in a good place mentally with, just coming into this major, not talking to the media, maybe with the PGA Tour and the PIF stuff kind of finalized. And maybe that's off his play at this point. Maybe he's kind of resigned to all that stuff and he can just move on. And everybody's starting to count out a guy who has been in the last 2 groups the last 2 weeks, did not have his best stuff at the PGA, and still finished top 10. Is great at Augusta National. Has the one time he played Kapalua, actually, because he never plays that tournament, finished 4th. So the uneven lies is not a concern. I know there is really good history on firm conditions like Chambers Bay and Carnoustie. So he can do well on firm conditions here. Really good U.S. Open track record. excellent track record on Bermuda tee to green courses. He won Congaree last fall. That was pretty firm with some tight lies around the green. Jumeirah Estates over in Dubai over there. That's Bermuda with some thick, Bermuda rough there. So just a lot of things are going for him at this golf course. I really like him. And you can get him at 16-1 at a couple places. At Bet Online, at DK, you can take that promotion and add 3 basis points to him, make him 19-1. That's not bad. So I would still stick with my Rory bet. It's on my card. If you don't like it, I'm not forcing you to bet it. I get it. It's not a very popular pick. It's just what I'm going to pick. My job is to tell you the types of players to bet and how the golf course is going to play. Not really who to pick. That's just my personal decision. So he's on my card. Cantlay, it also seems like just not a lot of steam. Definitely not a lot of public support here. The price started 14-1, has drifted to 16-1. Circa, nobody is really on him. He got a little bit of action today, but overall, though, with Bet Online, he's up to 20-1. And I understand the argument against Cantlay that he just never is in a major. But eventually he will. He's not going to go his entire career without ever being in the mix. He's too talented of a player. And I think this is just kind of a gut call on my part. I came in the beginning of the week saying he wasn't very good on Bermuda. Well, he's played this course 24 times, and that's been Bermuda. His home course in California converted to Bermuda and bentgrass greens in 2015. So he's played a lot there in Bermuda. He lives in Jupiter, Florida. He's a member at Medalist. He plays Seminole a lot. That's one of his favorite courses. Rory actually mentioned today there's a lot of Seminole in this place. And Patrick Cantlay, I think, won the member pro there one year, and he plays a lot there. So maybe at this point, the Bermuda thing is a little bit overblown. His event results recently haven't been all that horrible on him either. So look, with that, the Bermuda issue cleared for me, I still would bet him. I understand again if you wouldn't. So it is what it is. And then Xander, that was the other guy I bet. I got him at 21-1, but he has definitely gotten a lot of popularity, especially in the public markets here. Down to 18-1 on Bet365, down to 16-1 on Bet Online too. So it seems like both getting money with sharp books and public books. I mean, at this point, though, if you can't stomach 16-1 on Xander when he never wins, I get it. I probably wouldn't at this point. If I got him at 21-1, like that 20 range is kind of where I wanted him, but you're haggling over a couple basis points. I mean, the case for Xander is great at Kapalua, great at Augusta National, contended at Erin Hill, or did well at Erin Hills, did well at Shinnecock Hills. So again, two polar extremes of U.S. Opens that I think can comp to this place. He's done well at, can do well on uneven lies. The iron play has been tremendous. Hits a nice draw off the tee too. I think he's gone too long without contending in a major, being in the mix, and I think this is going to be it. So I would still bet Rory, Cantlay, or Xander on my card. At probably their given prices. And then Hovland. This is the last guy that's kind of in that separate tier before we go down, before there's a little bit of gap. Look, I mean, not a whole lot of action on Hovland in the public markets, probably because everybody was already on him at really good prices. So, but at Circa, he's been a little bit up and down, hasn't really got a whole action in the sharp books. I guess my gut call on him, and I talked about this last night, is all the attention is on him this week. He is very popular pick to win. I think he was 3 of the 6 picks on the ESPN picks. He was a multiple selection on PGAtour.com. So I think his short game deficiencies, because he has to have a lot more types of things in his arsenal this week, maybe they might get him. Maybe all the attention and the pressure is going to be a little too much on him. So maybe this is the one he kind of bombs out. And at Royal Liverpool in a month, maybe that's his first major. So I think I'm off on Hovland. I know my co-host bet him to miss the cut. I did, just to kind of join him on that. You get that at 3-1. I think that's not a bad play. All right, so down the card. So who else is getting steam here? So because there's definitely a clear separation between Hovland and everybody else. I mean, the prices on Spieth right now, you can get them anywhere from 20 to 30 on DraftKings. And if you take that boost, it's 33-1. Spieth is starting to get some late support. FanDuel, he was hit and he went down to 22-1. Some of the sharper books too. He drifted a little bit on BetLine, back down to 25-1 today. He got hit a little bit on BetCris too before it was it got offset. But I mean, I think I've heard Speed's name a lot on a lot of the shows as far as just, all right, he's won Chambers Bay and he's won Kapalua, he's won Augusta National. So the notion that really wide fairways, short game matters, putting, you know, I get the argument. I think maybe we're forgetting though that his long iron play is still kind of bad. So I don't think that's great. I think he's still dealing with a wrist injury. His distance numbers are way down from what they were the last couple tournaments. So he's fighting something with it. And that could be an issue if he's doesn't have quite as good of a command off the tee as he has the last couple tournaments. The fact he's not hitting it quite as far, that can be an issue. So I'm definitely not I don't think I'm betting Spieth in any capacity this week. He's not in my betting card at all. Some other guys are getting some steam though. Finau is starting to get a little bit of steam on some of the sharper books and definitely on some of the public books, down to 30-1 on FanDuel. Still hanging at 40 though. I mean, that's a good price for Finau at 40-1. I mean, considering no one's on him, the ball striking numbers, I mean, the last couple of tournaments hasn't been very good with the irons, but overall though, his iron numbers have been strong this year. Got the length off the tee, pretty good around the green. Won at Memorial Park with some tight Bermuda lies onto undulated greens. So I get it. If that's something you want to bet, 40-1. That's a flyer. Otherwise, though, I mean, 28-1, 30-1, not really loving that price on Finau because he hasn't really contended any majors. But if you want to add a 40-1 guy who was, 25-1 last month at the PGA, I wouldn't fault you. Hatton has gotten a lot of steam this week. Not from just the public, a little bit of late steam too from some of the sharper books here, getting hit a little bit today. But yeah, the public, it definitely seems like they're all over Hatton. I have a bad feeling about him, just as far as the fact that I think some of his strong strokes gain off the tee numbers are a little fraudulent, not really elite distance wise, not really elite accuracy wise. Maybe that can get him kind of in trouble this week at this place. And, I don't know if he's going to like this golf course. So, but he's getting a lot of action, down to about 30-1 on most books. That's I think a stay away from me. Morikawa is starting to get a little bit of steam, especially on some of these sharper books. I think they might've been waiting for an injury report. He touched 40-1 around here and then came out today that his back injury isn't really a thing. The reason why he's crouching to tee up the ball is because he just wants to manage it. And then as soon as that word got out, starting getting hammered a little bit on the public books, definitely got hammered on the sharper books. And I mean, this is my nightmare scenario at this point. Because I said back in December, Morikawa was going to win. Obviously, he's got the Walker Cup connections, and I watched a lot of that Walker Cup. He played exceptionally well during it. I get it. You got the people who got 40-1 on Morikawa when he was low 20s 2 weeks ago. That's really good. That's a very good price. If you can, it doesn't seem like you're going to get that. Best you're going to get is 35. If you're still a believer in Morikawa, there's avenues for that. I wouldn't fault you on that. That might be one I reconsider at this point. Knowing what I know now, maybe swapping out Cantlay for Morikawa, just to go with my gut on that one. Justin Thomas also seems like he's getting a little bit of late steam. He was hit here on FanDuel. Somebody hit him big on Circa. He was 50-1, now down to 41-1. So maybe someone's just saying like, all right, it's Justin Thomas 50-1. I don't know. I don't really know how much I buy it. Something's off with him. I think it's an injury. I think that's still a stay away. He's drifted to 55-1 on BetOnline. That's still probably a pass for me. Bryson has gotten a little bit of love late, especially with some of the sharper books. I'm out on Bryson. I said it last night, just with the uneven lies. He's getting a lot of steam too. He's down to 33-1 on William Hill, 41 most other places. That's a pass. Ricky has been getting a lot of action both on public books and sharp books. Started the week off at 75-1 and 65-1 on some of the sharper books, down closer to 60 and 50-1 there. Public books just offered him at really bad price at the beginning of the week. 45-51, which actually is about where Data Golf has him. So it's not tremendously far off where they have him. So like BetOnline is 50-1. They have Data Golf has him 50. So technically that's positive EV there. BetMGM still has him 50-1. FanDuel still wins 51. I don't think he's actually going to win, but there's some good positional prices on him. Let's get rid of that. What's he for like a top 10 or top 20? So top 20 on Ricky Fowler is, you get close to 2-1 at Bet365. That's not bad. 170 170 DraftKings. All he's been really doing is top 20ing lately. Maybe that's an avenue for him. I do like Ricky this week. There are a lot of golf courses that I comp to this week that I like him to. I think he can do very well this week. I know he burned a lot of people with the PGA, but I don't think he's going to win, but that's definitely one I can see we can go in the positional on. And then just some other guys getting a little bit of late action. I think people are just betting Sam Burns because he does have a lot of win equity and the number is tremendously high. So dipping down to 71 on FanDuel, got hit a little bit on, Circa as well. He still hasn't truly contended in a major. I understand it's Bermuda and the Marina Burns thing, but I mean, if you don't like Rory because you're afraid he's going to spray it, what do you think about Sam Burns? And that's all he really does. So probably pass me there. Adam Scott definitely has gotten a lot of love this week. He's positional only for me, but it would not surprise me for him to finish in the top 10. I was conservative because I found a really good top 30 price at plus 165. I really like that. His top 20 market, I think that is absolutely viable. So let's go and see that right now. Yeah, plus like you're getting like plus 275 at Bet Online, plus 260 at Bet 265, plus 230 DraftKings. I really like those odds a lot for Adam Scott. So I think that is definitely a nice add to your betting card for a top 20 on Adam Scott there. Maybe not for the win. And then Tagala is also getting a lot of steam. I think today in the last couple of days too. I mean, Capper and I don't really like him a whole lot. But I think people are just looking at, especially, look at all this action on the sharper books. Got hit starting last Tuesday down to 110-1 on Circa from where he was at 125. Got hit a couple times on BetCris. He was 135 on BetOnline. That got hit today to 125. No action with the public. So it seems like sharps are just seeing a little bit of value possibly with Sahith Theegala. He does have a lot of upside. Maybe it's just low-hanging fruit, the fact they saw him do well at Riviera, and they think there's a crossover here. We've talked a lot about it. I don't see a lot of Riviera in this place. So that's it. I mean, that's it for outrights as far as guys who are getting a lot of steam. Who isn't right now? Surprisingly, Cam Smith, not getting a tremendous amount of action, although actually sharp money is starting to come in on him. He was 30-1 a couple of days ago at Bet Online, down to 25-1. So, and I actually, that's one where of all the guys hanging around 30-1 or so between like Spieth, Finau, Hatton, Morikawa, Fitzpatrick, even I think I like Smith the best. I love the case on Smith playing well on live. I understand that it's just live golf, but I mean, you're still playing golf shots at the end of the day, and the golf shots I've seen him hit over there look really good. This type of golf course seems like it fits him. A lot of comps to Australian Sandbelt courses. I think he also made that comp in his interview today. Wider fairways, rolling topography, firm conditions, tremendous bent grass putter, tremendous scrambler too. I found a great top 20 price that doesn't get dead heated at plus 150 at the beginning of the week. Let's see if that's actually still available. That was available on Bet Online. And all right, plus 140. Otherwise, though, I mean, not great. I think if you only have access to some of these public books, I think you're looking to get up to 3-1 for a top 10 on Cam Smith. That's pretty good. If I didn't have access to that other top 20, I probably would have gone with the top 10. I really like Cam Smith this week. I don't think he's going to win, but I mean, for what he can bring to this golf course, you can find 30s on him still. I do like that a lot. Homa, I thought was going to get a lot more steam, maybe because people kind of like Hovland already had a future on him a little bit late in the week, but otherwise though, Circa, he's drifted past 30. FanDuel, he's drafted back into 35 or so. He got hit a little bit on Bet Online, drifted back to 33-1. I mean, maybe this is the one for Homa where he actually starts to contend. I'm just not betting him at this point. I think eventually he might be good at a major, but it's not for me. So, and then some other guys you might want to consider. Let's go to, top, 20 market, just see what kind of catches my eye. I mean, we already talked about Fowler. You can consider that. I think Fitzpatrick's going to show well. This U.S. Open, firm conditions, top scoring conditions. He's been really good in those types of tracks. But I mean, best you can find is 145 on him for a top 20. Maybe that's a stay away at that point. Otherwise, though, I think looking down the board for, you can go Matsuyama plus 180 for a top 20. That's one on my betting card. I really like Hideki this week. You can go Fleetwood top 20 plus 180 as well. You can get that at a couple books over here. Two guys who have done very well at some firmer, wider fairways with firm and fast conditions. You just saw Tommy Fleetwood do very well last week. His iron play has been pretty good this year. Been putting pretty well too. Good short game. Same thing with Hideki Matsuyama's iron game has been really good the last couple of tournaments. Great short game. I think that really matters a lot this week. So those are two guys I think top 10, top 20 market is definitely viable. We talk about Adam Scott for top 20. So my guys consider for a top 20, Mito Pereira. Yeah, I've mentioned a couple times this week. I think he's just more talented than some of the guys around him. That's available for like plus 275 for top 20. Siwoo Kim is playing really good golf right now, really accurate, so good control over the ball. Hitting his irons really good. A great scrambler too. He played really well at Aaron Hills a couple of years ago. Unfortunately, this is going to be a little firmer than that place. So you worry about his headspace, but that's an option if you want to go for that for a top 20. Cam Davis for a top 20 plus 460 on Circa plus 400 DK. Some of the Australian Sandbelt narratives. He's a really good long iron player. Hits it pretty far too. That's an option. Harris English has been pretty good at U.S. Open setups. I saw an interview today. Seemed like he called the golf course kind of fun. So maybe he has a good headspace for this place. You can get him at plus 450 for a top 20. Patrick Rogers is a guy I like a lot this week. Data Golf likes him a lot. You can get plus 550 for a top 20 for him. I am for a first round leader bet. I'll talk about it a little bit, but if you want a little bit more of a long shot top 20, Rogers definitely can fit. Really good, pretty good around the green, great bent grass putter. Definitely has some distance off the tee that can work for you. So where do I think the winner is going to come? I wouldn't get too cute. I went through my little elimination exercise a couple days ago. Basically, it came down to Scotty, Rahm, Brooks, Rory, Cam. Pretty much all your favorites. Cam Smith, definitely you can consider. Fitzpatrick's not going back to back. I think that's it. I think it's really going to come from this range, and then you just got to kind of decide at that point. I think everybody else, there's a lot of guys I like down here. I took care of them with positionals. I think you should too. That's that. Some other stuff we can talk about briefly before I get out of here. Cut line and winning score. So I said at the beginning of the week, I thought it was going to be 10 under. I think it's going to play a little harder now because it does seem like the golf course is firming up. I think probably 8 under is a good bet for that. But that's exactly where the winning score line is right now. It's around 271.5. It's around 272.5 or so. I saw on Bet Online, it was 271.5. We started to get some money in on the over on that. Then it flipped to 272.5. And now we're seeing money coming in the under. So it seems like that's a little bit of the tipping point right there. I think that's a really good line that they set. So I don't see an advantage there. Same thing with the cut line. I thought it was going to be +3 or +4. And that's where the cut line is. I didn't end up betting that. So gun to my head, though, if you can still get a 271.5, I think I like the over. Just a smidge though, but it only takes one guy to ruin it. So don't go nuts with that one. And then finally, the first round leader, and I can talk a little bit of a wave split because that's a conversation too. I think I was listening to USGA this morning, and it does seem like, they kept mentioning how they wanted this golf course to stay true to the George Thomas, how he built it basically, and how he designed it. And it got me thinking as well about how they might set it up tomorrow. And listen, George Thomas is known to have handshake holes, handshake par fives, get you really started easy into a round before he goes. I can definitely see the USGA tomorrow setting up having a pretty benign setup. This is a newer golf course. We don't really know how things are going to go with it. I don't really want to piss off the players right from the jump with this place. And we've seen for the past couple of U.S. Opens that it has started off a little bit easier. Brookline guys got off to a really good start last year. And Wingfoot guys got off to a really good start. Torrey, they got off to a good start. Pebble, they got off to a good start. And then gradually as the days go on, it's gotten progressively harder. And that's, I think, what's going to happen here. I think, it's going to end up being really firm by the end of the tournament because the sun is going to come out. But I think they're going to ease these guys into this tournament. So as far as tomorrow for first round leader, in the morning it's going to be cloudy, but the sun's going to come out in the afternoon and it is going to start firming up then. So I think first round leader is definitely coming from the morning. So I have my betting card this week. A bunch of guys go in the morning. Morikawa, Fowler, Rose, Scott, Reed, and Patrick Rogers. All those guys you can be fined over 50 to 1. Reed can be found as high as 81. I really like those guys. All of them except for Morikawa are pretty good putters on bent grass. Have a lot of experience on firm and fast conditions other than Patrick Rogers. And then as far as Morikawa goes, that's how I'm getting exposure on my card. If it's really benign conditions tomorrow morning, not a lot of wind, greens look like they're still going to be a little receptive tomorrow before they start firming up a lot over the weekend. Maybe you can go low with like a 65 or 64. But as far as a wave split, though, I do think the guys going off tomorrow afternoon and Friday morning are going to have a slight advantage because I do think it's going to be a little bit of an easier setup with the pin positions on Thursday. I'll give guys opportunities to get some birdies. But then on Friday, as the golf course firms up, I think they'll have a more difficult setup on Friday. And at that point, you really want to be in the morning when it's still cloudy, the wind is down, because once the afternoon comes and the sun is out and you have difficult pins, I think it's going to be really difficult for those guys. So I think a slight advantage to tomorrow afternoon, Friday morning, and then we'll see. So, all right. I hope you enjoyed this video. I know it was long-winded, but it's a major. So I had a lot to say. So good luck with all your bets this week. And we'll talk to you next week for the Travelers.